The fuck? None. Oh. I don't know about you, but I think I might be allergic to stag doos. I just crawled back from Prague and let me tell you, stag flu is real. I don't know if it's the mixture of alcohol or the not sleeping very much or just mixing with other people, or maybe it's just a flight from Prague, but I feel terrible. It's enough to make me want to just crawl away and sleep for days. When I can't do that, feeling crap is a really good time just to sit down and catch up with stuff you've been missing. TV, film, video games, whatever. A show with a title like Happy, I mean, that might work, that might make me feel better. It doesn't sound like the sort of show that I'd normally go for, but I mean, it's worth a shot.
My life is an ever-swirling toilet that just won't flush. I don't think I can die.
Hard to believe this piece of shit used to be the best detective in the whole department.
I died. I really did it.
Holy shit! Where has this been hiding? Based on a graphic novel by veteran comic scribe Grant Morrison and artist Derek Robertson, which incidentally has found its way straight into my Amazon basket, Happy can best be described as sort of Who Framed Roger Rabbit meets The Punisher. Although that doesn't begin to scratch the surface. Right from the off, Happy doesn't hide its intentions. It's sometime around Christmas, somewhere in Manhattan, and we're introduced to our hero Nick Sachs in the back of a seedy bar.
Not vodka. I give up. What is it?
A distressed and deeply troubled ex-cop, Nick ekes out a living as a hitman.
Well, ho, 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 what's Santa got for me tonight?
Please, just take it.
Well, that's interesting.
He makes no secret that he wants to die, but for whatever reason, he just can't manage it. This gives him a reputation as an unpredictable and pretty ruthless killer on the streets.
Like a turkey shoot. That's funny, I contracted for 3.
A drug-taking alcoholic who wouldn't look out of place in a queue for a soup kitchen, Nick is given the task to eliminate some low-level gangsters. So far so average, but during the fight, Nick is injured and after receiving a cryptic message from one of his dying targets, suffers a massive heart attack. Elsewhere, a mother's worst nightmare comes true when her daughter Hayley mysteriously disappears during a concert. Hayley's taken into the seediest depths of New York by a bad Santa, a very, very bad Santa. Thankfully, she isn't alone and she recruits her friend, her imaginary friend, to try and help her. This imaginary friend, a sort of blue, flying, horsey, unicorny thing, eventually manages to find the one man capable of saving Hayley. Fortunately, that man is Nick Sachs, who is currently off his tits on painkillers in the back of an ambulance on its way to hospital. When they finally meet, Nick assumes he's hallucinating and is quick to dismiss Happy's pleas for help.
Come on, snap out of it.
You can see me!
What the hell?
Yeah, you ain't quite what I expected either. I guess we get what we get and we don't get upset, right? Oh boy.
Before he can be convinced any further, Nick is confronted by a mass of gangsters, all determined to retrieve the password they believe he was given during the hit.
I am going to remove your penis in thin slices, like salami.
It's gonna take you a long time. If you know what I mean. He knows what I mean.
After an epic action sequence that I'm not going to spoil here, Nick and Happy escape the confines of the hospital, with Nick still stubbornly refusing the call to adventure at every turn. That's something worth pointing out. I'm a big structure guy. I love story beats and following the hero's journey. And the first hour of Happy, that's episodes 1 and 2, absolutely follows this, and I love that. I mean, you can call that predictable if you like, but I mean, Happy is so absolutely, utterly unique that anyone who calls it anything other than excellent, it's just an and as far as I'm concerned, has a What really stands out for me here is just how epic and fluid the action is. That sounds like a weird thing to say, but just hear me out. There isn't a single shot or sequence in this first hour that feels lazy or phoned in. Everything feels planned, and everything feels like it's been directed by a madman who's just taken a fistful of sugar and washed it down with Red Bull. As someone who grew up in the golden age of Cartoon Network, Happy's very reminiscent of the sort of insanity that kids would love and parents would get a bit worried about. I mean, look, it's even got the terrifying hymn from Powerpuff Girls in the first episode. Look, he's right there. In the second episode, Nick decides to flee the city before any more gangsters can catch up with him, much to Happy's disappointment. Calling on some old favours, Nick rushes headlong into the seedy underbelly of New York City, trying to raise cash and firearms to keep himself safe in the future. Meanwhile, we dive deeper into some of the supporting characters, such as Detective Mary McCarthy, a cop who idolised Nick when he was still a detective. Also, there's Smoothie, a total creep and pervert whose sadistic imaginations employed by the mysterious Mr. Blue, a man desperate to retrieve the password that Nick has. The growing cast of characters are just as important and strong as Nick himself, and what's more, they're introduced to us in a logical and sensible way, and even more important than that, I know their names. That's a rare and enticing component of any modern TV show. As Nick realises the importance of Happy and the usefulness of his flying companion at his side, Nick's stony-faced attitude begins to crack. And as we reach the closing credits of episode 2 and the first hour that I've reviewed, we see our heroes band together to face the new adventures side by side.
Come on, let's go find this kid.
Partners?
Don't push it.
I can't begin to try and tell you what might happen next because, Christ, as far as I can tell, anything can happen. All I know is, if there was ever a show made to turn my head specifically, it was probably Happy. It's dark, it's absurd, and it's got some of the most insane action sequences I've ever seen on TV. Christopher Maloney is the perfect choice for this role. Anyone who's seen Wet Hot American Summer will be able to testify to this. He is spot on. Also in the role of Happy is Patton Oswalt, whose voice just fits so perfectly, it's almost like he's been genetically grown in a lab just for this. It's so perfect, it's hard to think of anyone who'd be a better suit for a sort of flying horsey unicorn thing. It's brilliant.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to concentrate with you bouncing off the ceiling? It's like kissing God! It's like kissing God! I'm everything and nothing! I'm everything and nothing!
What else can I say? Just go and watch it, you won't regret it. Excuse me while I just dose up on some drugs and just like try and get rid of this thing. Just gonna
Merry Christmas.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, 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 joy.